turned into Aspen Grove. It's now Aspen Willow Drive. Here's some of the condos that take up what used to be our front pasture where we would sled. And this roadway was never here, of course. We had a gravel driveway that was on the side of the property. Going down here toward the creek. The creek has been buried. It's underground now, but it's down in the little ravine there. And this was a sycamore tree. It's really ancient sycamore. It's the one that my brother tried to climb with the rope, and the ghost managed to hide the rope inside the boxwood maze, which is there. Julie and I are actually going to get out and take some photos of the property. There was a tree that was planted here just for me when I was a child. Actually, there's 2 trees. I'll see if I can find the other one. And oh, here's a deer. Hi there, cutie. Over here is a stand of hickory trees where when we were playing flashlight tag, I would hide around behind those trees, and the boxwood maze was over that way. There was a field between it where we used to play football. Imagine the boxwood maze is over there where those condos are. This garage and little house thing were not here. They weren't part of the mansion. A lot of these things are the same. These trees right here are the same. And this used to be a big empty field next door that George Mason University owned. Down this way, that clearing, that was the driveway. It was a gravel driveway, came up, and it swung around near the hickory trees, went around behind the house to the cottages, and George Mason owned a house next door that we let them use the driveway to. And there's the house. These big bushes are the same. Those American boxwoods, they were there. I can still see where the circular drive was. Let's go over there and have a look at that. Okay, so coming up from that driveway that was there, you would turn here at this bush to go up to the circular drive. You would come up here to go and park in front of the mansion and get out between those 2 boxwoods and walk up. And then you would circle around this row of English boxwoods and go back out. So that was the formal part of the driveway. There's a lot of deer here, just like when I was a kid. Hi, happy dude. Or dudette. This tree was actually planted for me. It was a Japanese maple. This is my tree. I grew up with this tree, and I always managed to get a photo of myself with the tree. The front boxwood maze looks really anemic. It kind of died back. It just doesn't look like it used to look. I think maybe it was a hard winter, or just maybe they're not caring for it so well. I don't know, but it's different than it used to be. Much fuller and happy and healthy. So, it's over a century old, so maybe that's it. What? I don't have anything for you, pretty thing. This is the red maple tree that was planted for me. I learned how to do gymnastics on this tree. I really did. This limb was very tiny. I used to swing from that on my knees, and I would swing until I could let go with my legs and just land on the ground. And it was just like my favorite. I used to pretend it was a pirate ship too. But it's really easy to climb in. And oh my gosh, in the fall this thing turns the brightest red-orange. And there's the mansion from here. We are at the front boxwood maze now. We just scared the deer away. She went back into those woods, George Mason territory. All this is the same as far as this clearing. All of the boxwoods are really just beat to hell. They look just monstrous. They just look like they're in bad health. But I want to go inside some of these maze rooms and look around because some of these, oh my goodness, this tree is so big now. This one maze entry over here was where my mom used to have her flower garden every summer. And I'm going to go around the outside of this. It's much easier. Now, I don't know if y'all remember, I had told a story about digging up. I had been pacing back and forth in front of these boxwoods. And that's where I finally just said, okay, there's something there. And I stopped. And I dug, and I found a row of tin soldiers and a row of porcelain dolls, like a little graveyard. And I had spent a whole summer just pacing up and down there, wondering why I was attracted to it. Finally, I just decided to dig, and that's when I found them. And this was my favorite part of the maze. Mom had, you can still see the remnants of my mother's flower beds that she made in here. She would grow peonies, and she had a whole variety of different rose bushes inside of all of the maze areas. But as a kid, this was, these bushes were much bigger as a kid. They pruned them now. They would be, taller than me now. But we used to go in here as kids and pretend to be selling apartments or condos and play real estate and stuff. So it was a lot of fun. This was a great sled run here, this hill. And of course the wonderful sycamore tree at the creek. I guess the willow tree's gone. That's a shame. The willow tree down there was gorgeous. And of course the creek is gone. It's very odd, very disorienting. Down through what we once called the thicket. It was where the sour cherry trees were, and a lot of bushes and brambles that we never cleared out. But as we go down here, I was going to show her where the lady screams. She screams at twilight in the summertime. And they say she was a nurse during the Civil War, and just sort of a neighbor woman who was helping to nurse the men, and one of the men that she cared about died. And so she drowned herself. Apparently the creek back then ran like a river. It was very, very full. And right behind this leaning tree, that's where the woman screamed. But only at twilight. It's not twilight now. I'm kind of curious if the creek picks up after it gets out of this property. And I can hear it running. Yep. The creek is still there. Look at that. Oh, the memories. There's some things that weren't here before. They added the concrete and stuff. But after that, it looks like it does what it used to do. Used to take a roller, a big heavy metal roller, it's like a big wheel, and we would pound down the snow going all the way down this path. This was a mulberry tree that my family had planted for me. It's actually the tree I learned to climb in. Of course, back then it was a really tiny thing. We would go past it and go all the way down the hill into the creek. But we would first wet the ground after we packed it down, and then we would let it turn to ice, and we would put a floodlight in the ground so we could see and sled at night. So that was one of our favorite delights as kids.